turn the window off. Keep thinking there. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Cartoons with Dirty Fylth. Let's see here. Hope everyone's having a wonderful Saturday. I'm here every Saturday, pending alien abduction, Sasquatch breaking my kneecaps, or other weird happenings. And during the week, you can catch Dave Scott at 9 p.m. Pacific time, Monday to Friday, with handsome Grantavius Flavius Maximus, Legio 13 on Wednesdays with the UFO Max, and Friday with Lee Strauss. And on the weekend, Mr. Rob G. Capital M, Mr. Rob G. And other than that, we're going to do a Halloween cartoon today. Because I went to the Max the other day, and the Max guy goes, "Hey, you did those Christmas cards. Are you going to do any for Halloween?" And I said, "Yes, I am," even though I actually didn't think about it, despite Halloween being my favorite time of the year. Oops, I got to get this thing. Clunk. Alrighty, let's see here. Who's all hanging out today? We have maybe Susie's here. Jennifer, Undead Jed. Hi, Kitty Cattywhack. Scroll up a little bit. Race fan. Oh, look, there's me. And StreamYard, whoever that guy is. All right, without further ado, I'm going to get this drawing going here. And then, as usual, go for some nice chicken wings after. So it's almost going to be Halloween pretty much all month, in my books at least. So I've been watching a bunch of spooky movies. And I'm probably going to watch my favorite Halloween movie tonight, which is Halloween 3, pending what happens. I might go over to my pal Watson's. I'm not sure yet. Still have to get a hold of him. Excuse me. And then, yes. So anyways, Halloween 3 is my favorite of all the Halloween movies because, to be honest, Michael Myers is pretty boring. Same with Jason Voorhees, because they're kind of like the same thing. They just sort of zombily drone on and on. But the reason I like Halloween 3 is because the story was relatively unique. And originally, the Halloween films were supposed to be an anthology of spooky Halloween shows, with each of them being different. If you actually watched Halloween 1 and then Halloween 3 back to back, you'd kind of see where they were kind of going. But I guess Michael Myers just got really popular. So, I mean, if you got something that's working for you, you might as well use it. But yeah, Halloween 3, the ending and everything. It's got Tom Atkins in it, so it's automatically good. Oh, my microphone's working. But Tom Atkins just steals the entire show. And Mr. Cochran, the head bad guy in the whole show, he's probably one of the best villains. I mean, what else would you want for a villain besides an evil Irishman that makes Halloween masks that turn children into goop? So I know the movie's super old and I can't really spoil it, but I just won't say anything else to not ruin it for anyone if you haven't seen it. But if you haven't seen Halloween 3, if you just go into it without thinking about Michael Myers or anything like that, or a typical slasher film, you'll be pleasantly surprised with it all. One second here, I'm gonna drink what am I having today for tea? Well, it's not really tea, it's just a honey ginger thing. It actually looks like swamp water. Ooh, delicious swamp water. Oh, it's like it was just boiled and burned my mouth. Hello, Baked Beano. Ow, bonk. Hope you're having fun way in the future. Hope all your students are paying attention. I hope, you know what, Baked Beano, it'd be nice if you just decided that every Saturday, any of your students that are there, you just go, you know what, we're just going to watch Dirty Fylth for an hour. And then you have to mark them down as present, and they get 98% because you can't give them 100% because then it looks like you just called in. You know. But yes, we actually had some guests from Australia on. I believe it was Thursday their time, but Wednesday on the North American continent. And it was supposed to be Stephen Evan Strong, but Evan was tied up with some stuff, so we brought in Lee Capitelli, which I totally had forgotten about her. I was suggested her to come on the show by Attila Caldi the one time, and I'll have to get back in touch with them and get her on the show. She's pretty good about UFOs and everything. But yes, that was an excellent show as well. The thing I enjoy most about Stephen and Evan is they talk with like local Aboriginals in Australia, and it's when you can talk to people that have stories passed down, like oral traditions through, hundreds and thousands of years. It's kind of special because most people go, well, I was driving my car, seen a UFO, and that's that, and then they don't have that little bit of history to it, and most people, you don't just get a saunter over and go talk to the Aboriginal people and be like, hey, tell me all your stories. You got to kind of gain that trust, and for them to have that trust built and developed over time, and then being able to collect their stories and share them with everyone else is it's kind of special. So, anyways, rambling about that. So there we go. That's one of the reasons why I also like to talk with Travis Moose about that kind of stuff, because he's I believe he's from up north in Alberta somewhere. I'm not sure where exactly he's from. Parts unknown. But he's always a cool guy to talk to. Plus, well, he's a great writer as well. And my text-based RPG character is in one of his stories, which is really cool. Old Rusty Boy. Oops. My character's a old mercenary turned to cartographer. That's it. That was the character's passion for it. And he might be old, but he can still swing his greatsword pretty well. So it worked out good. But it was just kind of neat when he actually gave me a copy of his book, which was nice. And then he's like, here's the pages where Rust is in. I'm like, what? And I went and looked, and I was pleasantly surprised. So I'm not sure if you're listening, Travis, but I really appreciate that. Next time you come to Edmonton, give me a little bit of heads up, and I will put a RPG adventure together, and then we can roll some dice. So, yes. Let's see here. Also, speaking of zombies and junk, I don't play a lot of video games, but I was playing Project Zomboid yesterday with some of my pals, and of course we all lost our can openers, which that's what we say when you die, because Project Zomboid is just basically how long you can go before you die. And Marty can't drive, and Brian can't drive, and they all crashed into light poles, and everybody had to get out and run away from zombies, and of course I'm the only guy that died, so thanks, Marty, for ruining my Friday. Ooh, thanks, Kitty Cattywhack. A salad with chia seeds, eh there, Andrew and Gnome's Trucking Express? Oh, hello, Vejaquita. The other day, he's like, hello, Jaqueta or whatever, and I'm just yelling at my top of my lungs. I'm like, you're wrong, Dave. But we have to be nice to Dave because he eats the Nanaimo bars, and if anybody willingly eats that stuff. Do you like the Nanaimo bars? Yes. Well, I'm gonna just lump in Fox with people that eat the Nanaimo. Lover, do you like the Nanaimo bars? Jesus, good God. Well, apparently I'm gonna have to get a divorce, so. No, I'm okay. I just might have to put it on the back burner, but no, the Nanaimo bars are weird. It's like diabetes in a little tiny square box. But it's all right. Well, Baked Beano, I appreciate that you got my book. And like I said, if you ever come to North America, I will go to wherever you are and sign the book for you and draw a cartoon inside of it. It's even worse now because Canada Post decided to go on strike again. Excuse me. And so shipping any of my books and calendars is going to be a pain in the rump roast. Because Pure Later is brutal to ship with, and Canada Post was relatively okay. But now they decide to go on strike, so it's a gong show. But what are you going to do, right? So my mom works for Canada Post, and I've been calling her the last couple of days. I'm like, hey, Swindlin, you consider getting a job, you jobless bum? Just to bug her, but I think she's just going to retire soon enough anyways. Ooh, let's scroll up here. I didn't see what the Jaquita said. Oh yeah, The Exorcist. You know, that was an interesting movie. Kind of wigged me out when I was a kid, but then again, I'd already watched things like Freddy Krueger and all that stuff. Out of the three big Halloween spooky character movies, horror films, I like Freddy Krueger the most because, you know, you have to sleep at some point in time with Jason and even like Michael Myers. You know, you can sort of run from them for a while as long as you don't turn around and look the other way. Because the second you look behind you, then that just, you know, in horror movies, that just teleports the bad guy right on top of you. So, second here. But I always thought Freddy Krueger was the creepiest because the way they would just show, you know, the characters, the protagonists, so to speak, that you think they're awake, but then you realize that they were dreaming, they fell asleep, and it's kind of cool because you're not really expecting a monster that you have to face at some point where you can't just keep running and, you know, you can't really plot much. And then if anybody's ever stayed up for something ridiculous, 72 hours or something dumb like that, then you know what it's like when, you know, I'd like to go to sleep and you can't, and then you wonder if you're actually dreaming or not, and everything's all weird, and then, you know, Scary Glove Man shows up and, you know, his arms get all long, weird stuff like that. But most of the time I just stay up on my own accord, and it's not due to any synthetic fun anymore because I'm old and boring.
No more than one person who's been up for 11 days straight. That would be like with Scary Glove Man.
Your own body just shut down. He's like, "Hey, I'm here to kill you." You're like, "Please, I need to sleep." All right. So I got a couple other drawings I'm gonna do for Halloween. Fox gonna help me out with some ideas. We got one that involves a UFO and a cow. We're probably gonna bring that to a Halloween party we're going to soon. Do you remember when that is? Oh, look.
18?
There's the cat slut.
Yep. Oh, he's been here since the beginning of the show.
Oh, he has? Sounds about right. What a guy. Did you find any wild zombunnies on your adventures?
A couple.
Excellent. There's some wild zombunnies that have been found. We'll just have to wrangle them up and give them their shots, and then we can get some names to them.
And then they're going to Red Deer.
Then they're going to Red Deer, probably to some cool kid's house of some sort. Maybe even be like a tree house or club of some sort. Who knows? I never had a tree house when I was a kid. I always wanted one. I always wanted the Power Wheels too, but you know, when you're poor, you don't get that kind of stuff. Everybody else had fancy RC cars, and I had to have the RC car where you had to walk behind it because it was attached on a string. It goes really slow because your AA battery start dying on you. But other than that, I carved one pumpkin so far, and I got two more that I'm gonna do. Next weekend, oh, yes, I actually won't be here next weekend. I just remembered that. I have to go to a Thanksgiving thing because in Canada we do Thanksgiving in October as opposed to Thanksgiving in November like the Americans. Hey, Big Bino, do you guys do like a Thanksgiving type thing in Australia? Might have to move that a little bit closer. Or any sort of thing like that in October. I don't know much about the holidays in down under there. Nope. He says no. There's no Thanksgiving. So you know what that means? I'll have to eat some extra turkey for you, mister. Best thing about Thanksgiving is I'm the guy that gets to take all the delicious leftovers home because the majority of people I know don't like leftovers for whatever reason. Whiskey fluff all over the place. You can't escape it. Well, Andrew, is it weird that I like leftovers, or is it weird that there's no Australian Thanksgiving? I wonder if anywhere else in the world does Halloween. Things I might have to check out later on at a separate date of some sort. Oh, How is there cat fuzz inside this thing when it's got a lid on it? Boy, it's gray fuzz too. Hello, Matthew Gutka. Hope you're having a wonderful Saturday. My Saturdays are always nice because I don't have to work, and inevitably there's chicken wings. Except for next Saturday, it'll be like the first Saturday I haven't had chicken wings in 1,000 years. Oh yeah. I always get to eat the leg also because a lot of people don't like the turkey leg. I feel like a barbarian or Kano from Mortal Kombat when he's sitting there, a treasure, these moments. And then everybody gets horrified when I spit a chunk of turkey onto the table. But you have to do it. If you're going to pretend to be Kano, you have to do that. So look at this alien running away from the ghost. Big Beano says they're not allowed to celebrate national holidays anymore. Lots of politics going on. Terrible leadership. Hey, it's just like every country in the world. it's easy to squander other people's money and decide what everyone can do when you just live in a giant political mansion and nobody can do anything because if you don't agree with what your government says, then they come to your house and cut your brake lines or whatever, and I don't know, maybe they tip your cows over if you live on a farm. Then your milk gets all spoiled and you go to have some milk and it's all gross and curdled and you can't even do anything with it. Our government in Canada is equally as how can I put this as gentle as possible, brain damaged. Because yeah, you're right, Fox. She says you gotta have a brain before you can have brain damage, and well, none of the politicians in Canada have a brain.
At least not functional.
Yeah, I mean, it's just there to, so they don't forget to breathe and everything. And I mean, case in point, actually, the Canadian government was on prorogue or hiatus or whatever since last December, and they finally just went back to doing governmentally things and showing up to quote unquote their office, the House of Parliament, at the beginning of September. So, of course, they all got paid for it and everything, and then all us peons had to go to work, and then the government's like, well, we're gonna ban more firearms and we're gonna ban this and ban that. And oh yes, you can't walk in the forests in eastern Canada because it'll start a fire and you'll get a ridiculously large fine for that. Which you just gotta trust the science, I guess, everybody. So good old Canada. But on the plus side, it's getting a little chillier out. So chillier, if that's even a word. Getting colder out, so we don't have to deal with mosquitoes, which luckily it didn't rain a lot, at least here in Edmonton this year. So we missed out on the mosquito holocaust that usually happens. If you're like me, usually the mosquitoes don't bother you, but some people just have that delicious, delicious flavored blood where the mosquitoes want to suck it. They're like little vampire insects. Good thing mosquitoes aren't larger. That's what they should have did in Starship Troopers, was made some giant mosquito bugs. Besides that, I guess that last one, the like crotch-faced alien bug thing, had a stabby probe or whatever. But I actually have the book by Robert Heinlein, I believe, wrote it. And I haven't actually read it, but I probably should. Apparently, it's entirely different from the movie itself. But that's usually how it goes when they turn a book into a movie or anything. Well, Andrew and Gnomes Trucking, I guess that makes sense. But you know what? If you go to another country, you should probably, when in Rome, as best as you can. I mean, you're going to go to like North Korea and then you're going to go, hey, I'm going to rip a poster down. What's going to happen to me? And then he was probably like, but I'm an American. You can't do this. I'm an American. And they'd be like, yeah, well, get bent, Bentley. And so, you know what? I'm going to make a lot of enemies with this, but good on North Korea. Send that guy to the gulags. That's what you get for screwing around in another country. Unless it's Canada, you can come here and do whatever you want, basically. Go and have your week. I don't know. They got to protest every other week here in Canada about something, and they block the traffic. And And then everybody's fighting each other, and then there's me just drawing cartoons and watching spooky movies. And then my friends are like, "Are you going to come down to the protest?" No, because first of all, I don't like people, and two, I don't really want to be around lots of people, and three, I don't really care about what most people protest. So tough titties for them. Andrew, I want a trip to Costa Rica back in 2016. This is a good time to have a swig of water here. Oops. I want a trip to Costa Rica, and the first day we landed there, we're getting the car and everything. And I'm not sure what type of bugs they were because I've never seen them, but there was about 1 billion of them, and they're absolutely everywhere. It was basically like a mist of bugs. They were just all over the place, and they kind of look like June bugs. I don't know if anybody has June bugs where you live in the world, but they kind of look like that, and they were fine, yeah, and they were absolutely everywhere. And then when we started driving out of there and kind of hit the little highway coming out of the airport, it was weird because you could hear them clunking into the side of the vehicle, and I was like, "This is like a zombie apocalypse." Yeah, it was. Costa Rica is an absolutely beautiful country. It's I would probably never went there had I not won tickets from a radio show. All I had to do was phone in, and they just put your name in a draw. And I was having a shower the one day, and my phone rang, and I went, "Oh, that's probably the radio station calling me." And sure enough, I called them back, and they're like, "Oh, hey, Klaus, you've won tickets to Costa Rica. You and a friend get to go there, and you get to go swimming, or you get to go surfing, and not hang gliding, to zip lining." I went zip lining, and I'm not a big fan of heights, but I figured, you know what? I'm already here. Might as well do it because I'll never get a chance to do it again. And if I fall off the zip line and land in the jungle, I mean, how many other people get to say they fell off a zip line and died in the jungle somewhere? Not very many, at least this day and age. So it was interesting, absolutely terrifying. I'd probably never do it again because I don't like heights, and it was bad enough to get on an airplane for 8 hours or whatever it was. It was an interesting flight, and we stopped in Houston, Texas, and had Houston. Their airport's weird. You take a bus to get from one place to the other. It's so big. And they went to the little food court to get something to eat, and I just went up to the lady and like, "Hey, can I get a?" I forgot what the heck I got. Anyway, she goes, "Y'all from Canada?" I'm like, yeah. She's like, "Y'all got an accent." I'm like, "No, we don't." She's like, "Y'all got accents. So you can make one want to believe it, but you do." So apparently, Canadians have accents, but it's like when you hear your own voice in a recording, you don't think you sound like that. But 3D Medusa head. I have a 3D printer, which I still have to break out one of these days. It's buried under Halloween stuff currently, which I'm going to get all that stuff set up too. It's one of the few holidays that I actually enjoy doing. It's the only one that's worth anything because you get to dress up and have all the snacks, and you go to parties and everyone dresses up all goofily, and maybe, I don't know, some guy dressed up as the Mario Brothers feeds you mushrooms or something. Who knows? Not experiences from last year or anything, but didn't realize that's what happened until I got home. And I was like, "Hey, guy dressed up as Luigi fed me mushrooms." So I hope that guy's back there teens party again. All right, here we go. Let's
Well, but apparently I have.
yeah, Fox got to make 10,000 Jello shots for this party, and I'll have to test them for poison. Oh, this one's poison. Oh, that one's poison. This one also poison.
Great. Between you and Corey doing, quality control tests, I'm gonna have to make 3 times as many Jello
Yeah,
shots.
we couldn't bring any Jello shots because Dirty Fylth and Corey ate all the Jello shots.
Quality control.
Yeah, quality control testing, very important. Houston International is larger than Dallas Fort Worth. That's what DFW means, by the way, if anyone's wondering. The only reason I know about Dallas Fort Worth is because nobody's probably going to believe this, but the Tiger King and I used to have regular correspondence, and he has one of my cartoons, if anybody remembers that guy, which I don't know why nobody would remember him. The first time I watched that show, I thought it was just a joke thing, but it turned out it was actually all real. So that was interesting. But anyway, yeah, I sent him a letter, and he's like, "Hey, if I ever get out and I come to Canada, we should hang out." I'm like, I don't know about that, but how about we just stick to sending letters to each other? Yeah, I think we sent about 3 or 4 letters back and forth. Kind of neat. And then they moved him somewhere else, and don't know I don't know where he is. I'll have to figure that out and then send him a Christmas card or something like I did a couple years ago. Yeah, I know, Baked Beano. I'm very noble for that. It's like I went Halloweening with my cousin and his kids, not last year but the year before, and I had to make sure that all the caramel bars didn't have any poison in them as well. Same with Watson. He's like, "Okay, boy, we got to check for poison. This one's poison. That one's poison. You know what? As a matter of fact, we're just gonna have to test all these for poison." Yes, the Donkey Kong, the stupid ape original one in the arcades. Sunk a lot of quarters into that bad boy. There was a pub by my old place called Tiffany's Pub, and they had the tables, the table arcades where you could eat off them. It was flat. Yeah, I held the high score on most of those games for a long time. It's like everyone else has all these grand achievements in life. What did you do in life, Filthy? Well, I held a lot of high scores on arcade machines. It's important stuff too, so it's all good. And then they had the Mario Brothers game where it was a side scroller and there was different pipes on the side and you had to jump underneath and knock the enemies upside down and then you'd go kick them. That was pretty cool as well. They should do stuff like that. They don't make video games like that anymore. All the video games they make now are all these fancy graphic 3D things, and it's 8 million megabytes. 3D kittens. Oh, we'd rather make some plushies. Those are way better. Speaking of plushies, the Dogman is going to a new home next Saturday. Way out in a little tiny small town, so he's probably going to go out in the fields, harass all the cows. If I hear about cows giving spoiled milk, I'll know who the culprit is, but I'm not going to say anything because that would be mean. He's just a young guy anyway, Mr. Dogman there. He's just figuring out his way in life as well, so can't take that away from him. So what, he tipped some cows over. They shouldn't have been standing there in the first place. That's victim blaming, Filthy. Yes. Yes, it is. I mean, when you're playing role-playing games and junk, things like orcs and goblins and trolls, those are all kill on sight, and they shouldn't have been an evil, bad character to begin with. Unless you're playing the new Dungeons and Dragons, where orcs aren't bad guys and dark elves are apparently good people, and there's sparkle trolls everywhere. It's just stupid. Eh. Oh yeah, 1942, man. Baked Beano, that's mine. You know what? Tomorrow I'll go right down to the store and I'll get a picture of my high score on the 1942 machine at the co-op by my house. They probably just think this guy just comes here and he plays the arcade and he buys they got these weird flavored soda pop things, or it's like alien juice and booger brains and stuff. I'll have to take a picture of them and the next time I do the show, I'll show you what they look like. But it's all like really weird sour flavored pop and things like that. But I buy one of those, have a smoke before I go in, and then I beat the crap out of the high score and swear at the machine, and everyone's probably like, "Who the hell is this guy? He comes in here and yells at the machine all the time." But I've always liked the old arcade machines. They were a lot of fun. I wonder how many quarters I sunk into arcade machines throughout my life. Probably quite a bit. Street Fighter, not so much. Fighting games, I'm not good at those. I don't have the brain capacity for that kind of stuff. Oh, sounds like a whiny cat. Yep, whiny cat. Oh yeah, the Blob was the best. Blob plushie. Yeah, you probably could beat me there, Big Beano. However, If it was if we were playing something like Metal Slug, I could probably beat the high score on that. I'm more of a, like just a beat a high score type guy, like the wizard from the movie The Wizard. Listen to that thing. Are you dying, mister? Yeah? Holy. Mister? He's a little crybaby. A blob festival in Phoenixville every year where the movie was made. I actually have the Blob on VHS, which is pretty cool because there's just something about VHS. For instance, I used to have heavy metal on VHS, and it's vastly different and far superior to the DVD version that they have out now. Because in the DVD version they have now on the B-52 story, there's a part where the pilot opens up a door and there's a zombie there. And on the VHS version, there's an interesting, like a sludgy sound of the zombie moving. And there's another, another noise of, it's like just a added noise. Anyways, it's not in the VHS or the DVD. And the DVD is all cleaned up and the animation doesn't look the same. And I know they try to make it all, what's the word for it? Refurbished, updated, remastered. Thanks, Fox. Mm-hmm. Yeah, the remastered stuff just looks like garbage. They should just leave it the way it was. And, well, they should at least, if they're going to remaster it, they should have the original on the DVD as well, because it's not like they don't have room for it. But that's me, and I'm particular about things that I like. Oh, man, when Andrew and Gnome's Trucking Express, when Mortal Kombat first came out, I was at West Edmonton Mall, and I went to Wizard's Castle. I walked in there. There was like 1 million people piled around this machine. And I go, what the heck is that thing? And my friend's like, oh, this is Mortal Kombat. It's a new fighting game. There's blood and everything, and you can like blow up people. And like, oh, let's go have a gander. So we went and had a look, and it was the coolest thing in the world. And to see so many people playing it, and it was because they did I think it was rotoscoping or whatever. It looks so real. And actually, you can go online and look at some of the videos of how they did the animation for everything. It's really cool because they don't do that in a lot of video games anymore. I know they did them on computer games a lot. I know for the Harvester game on computer, which you basically are trained to be a serial killer, which is interesting. They did that for that game. But yeah, Mortal Kombat was something else. It was so ahead of its time, and just the way they presented it and characters and the story. And my favorite character is Sub-Zero because I've always been interested, like out of all the, even in like video or RPGs and junk with spells and whatnot, I always went to the cold spells because I thought the cold spells were, not as destructive as fire and thunder and everything, but the cold spells usually had things that would slow enemies down, and I kind of like that because you're trying to work as a team, so you want to help your team the best you can. So you could nuke everything, but why do that when you can make it easier for the barbarian to smash things? That's what the barbarians are good for, smashing things, like Karsa Orlong or Conan by the legendary Robert E. Howard. He's rambling away here about video games and junk. Speaking of video games, at the Space Bar, they have multiple video games. They have the Ghost Hunter, and they got Area 51. Ghost Hunter is probably one of the better games that they got there. It's a 2-player game, and you can play as a rogue or a thief or a paladin, and you have to rescue the princess. And definitely 1,000,000% chance not a ripoff of Super Ghouls and Ghosts or anything. So there is one pinball machine. It's 50 and back, based on people that apparently go for 50 and back, 20 and back, or whatever. Apparently these super soldier guys go and spend 20 years on Mars and then they come back to Earth and they haven't aged and they're still a child. And those are always interesting, but those guys never seem to want to come on Spaced Out Radio. So boomerangs to them. I think it's because they get paid more if they go to like big fancy shows and everything. Well, yeah, Nosferatu, the 1930s version, the second best vampire film. The best one is Bela Lugosi is Dracula. It's got one of my all-time favorite quotes when Jonathan Harker gets there and Dracula offers him wine and he goes, "Well, aren't you going to have anything?" And he goes, "I never drink wine." It's just Bela Lugosi steals it. He's basically like a Humphrey Bogart. Like you stick that guy in anything, you give him any lines, and it was gonna be great. And then also my favorite scene in the entire I think it's 32 or something. Anyways, the 1930s Dracula with Bela Lugosi. My favorite scene is where I forget the guy's name. Van Richten or whatever. Anyways, he notices he opens up the cigar tin and there's a mirror on it on the inside of the lid. And he sees Dracula talking to oh boy, I don't remember the lady's name. Terrible. I'll have to watch it soon. Anyways, he notices that she's talking to nobody and he looks over and then he goes, "Oh, excuse me, Count. I got to show you something. I just discovered." This is all the incorrect exact quote, but he goes, "I discovered something interesting," and he shows it to him, and then Dracula slaps it out of his hand, and his expression goes from like a caged animal full of rage to calming himself down to understanding that he's now been caught, and you can tell that he's formulating a plan to deal with all this, and it was unexpected, and it all happens in about like 3 seconds, and it's probably one of my favorite scenes in any film. And he says something to the effect of, "For a man that only lived one life, you're extremely intelligent." Something to that effect. Excuse me, I don't know the exact quote. I haven't actually watched it for a while, but I'm going to remedy that as well. Make sure I watch all the spooky movies. Hello, mister. There's bonk. There's a gremlin here. Yeah, back in the day, the games that they said were violent, Andrew, were relatively not violent. Well, they were pretty rowdy, but not as bad as some of the games now. But that just comes with the territory of everything's got better graphics, and everybody just wants better graphics as opposed to better gameplay and story, which I think that story and gameplay is better than graphics because, I mean, I played Atari and everything like that when I was younger, and those weren't very much graphics. Or those graphics weren't very good, and you just basically had to fill in your own stuff. And I mean, the one I forget the name, like Dungeon Keeper or something. You know, the dragon just looked like a whole bunch of pixels, and it didn't even really it almost looked like a question mark, really. And when you seen that, you were like, "Holy crap, that's a dragon!" So it graphics only do so much, and I think people had more imagination back in the day. Same with like tabletop role playing games and everything. Everyone's got to have all these. You know, I'm bad for it because I keep making all these fancy terrain and buildings and junk. And it's fun and it helps with the game. But when I played RPGs way back in the day, we never had any of that stuff. It was all theater of the mind, and you had to describe everything. Now you just go, you walk into a room and there's some bad guys sitting around a table, and then everyone just kind of pays attention to all the miniatures on the table. Excuse me. As opposed to what back in the day you had to explain sights and smells and everything. And yeah, anyways, nobody cares about RPG stuff. So, well, they might, but not today. Disco lady. Hey, Mr. Gremlin. Jennifer says hi. Sorry, Jennifer. He doesn't care. He's just a cat with no brains.
Although, isn't he due to take over the world?
Yes, Gremlin is eventually going to take over the world.
Based
And
on our earlier assessment of politicians, would it really be any worse?
no, it would probably be a little bit better. Everything would probably be relatively laid back. Hopefully. But we don't know.
I mean, they all basically are sharing one collective brain cell now as it is.
And there he goes. He's a good guy. Oh, hello, Mary Kay. Did I miss anybody else? Let me scroll up here. Maybe I did. Maybe I didn't. Maybe it's Susie. Maybe it's Maybelline. No, I didn't miss anybody. Excellent. All right. Apparently, I'm way ahead of myself here today. That's all right, though. Sometimes it goes by quicker and sometimes it doesn't. But then I can show a couple pages from my book and plug that as well. Because, by the way, I have my second book out, Cryptid Cartoons Volume 2. There's a couple in there. Those are all my waiting to be purchased or waiting to get their homes. Let's have a quick gander, shall we? Look at that, Volume 2, with an alien with his Groucho Marx glasses. And then there's some characters in the back. That's me. Of course, it's too bright to see anything. Let's see here. What do we got? Like just about 200 pages of cartoons. And these are all relatively new. I don't have any of my drawings from this year in here, but we'll have a look after I get this all done. I don't have my first book handy. I'm waiting for the first book and a whole bunch of the second ones to show up as well. I got about like 6 books here that are already all spoken for. And best part is whenever I get these books, I always like to draw a little cartoon in them for people. And I hide it somewhere so they don't really notice it right off the bat. And then, a couple weeks later, they'll get a hold of me and, oh, hey, thanks for drawing a little random cartoon in there.
Oh, like the alien in my mom's crossword puzzle book?
Yes, I went over to Fox's mom's once and had to use the washroom. And of course, I walk in and there's a crossword puzzle book. So I was like, well, might as well do my duty as an artist and scribble a little alien in there. And then, I don't know, like a month later, she found it. She's like, the hell's this? Yeah. It's always fun. I'd like to get my books in a chapters or a bookstore of some sort. And I'd just walk in there and sign them for people. Ooh, Frogger. Air hockey, eh? I wasn't good at air hockey, Andrew, but I'm pretty good at mini curling, which is what some people call shuffleboard. Shuffleboard was good. I worked at an old folks' home, and they had they used to do shuffleboard tournaments there. I had I played with my friend, and he was a lot better than I was, and I kind of eventually learned from him, and yeah, we had a lot of fun doing that. They had shuffleboard, and they also had darts, which I'd like to say I'm good at darts, but I'm not really good at darts. Andrew, the Tom Cruise remake of War of the Worlds, not really a big Tom Cruise fan, but I really like that one because they didn't waste any time getting to it. They're just 10 minutes in, bang, aliens. And then that weird alien horn thing was just creepy as all hells. Which I'm surprised no industrial bands abused the heck out of that and use that as samples. But all the Hollywood dickheads are like, oh, you can't put samples of our music or videos or anything in your songs because copyright infringement. It's like, you're going to tell this band that doesn't really make a lot of money off this stuff that they can't use a sample from your crappy movie. I remember back in I think it was the early 2000s, there was a big thing about music and samples and everything. And one of my favorite bands, Velvet Acid Christ and Wumpscut, they both used a lot of samples. And now a lot of their music doesn't have samples, which is a shame because, all these guys cried about it. And it's not like a guy that makes albums in his spare time has lawyers to go to court, to fight these guys over criminal charges like using about 8 seconds of a song sample or a video sample. But if you actually want a song that's really good, the band is called Wumpscut. I'll spell it for you. And the song is called Soylent Green. And he used a whole bunch of samples of Soylent Green for the film, German version. There's two versions of it. There's a German and an English version. But yeah, Wumpscut's pretty cool. He did a whole bunch of albums that basically he took samples and made entire like albums basically based off of samples and junk and from old films and everything, and it worked out pretty good. And then of course Hollywood had to find out that people were doing this, and so they cried about it, and we'll send our big evil lawyers after everyone, and everybody had to stop doing that. But it's nice when you get a song that has a sample in it, and then you're watching, you don't know where the sample's from, and then you're watching a movie one day, and then randomly you hear the sample. There's a band that I'd like to listen to. I think the guy's from Seattle. The band's called Dead When I Found Her, and the band name is, I guess, from like a Johnny Cash interview or something. Anyways, the guy uses a bunch of samples from the film Dark City, which is criminally underrated because it came out around the same time that The Matrix came out, and everybody had a big boner for The Matrix. So that way, people kind of missed out on Dark City. But Dark City is really good. It's all about memories and everything. So if you're into trying to, it's like a really film noir style detective kind of movie. And I'd actually like to turn it into a RPG adventure for some of my nerds one day. I know they haven't seen it, so I could easily throw it in there, and they'd be like, "Wow, Filthy, this is original," and I'd be like, "Yep, not stolen from a movie or anything." All right, get my old signy pen out here. We used to have Chuck E. Cheese's in Canada as well, Andrew. Yes, Undead Jed. Dark City did rock. But anyways, they used a bunch of samples. It was neat because there's one scene where, so basically the premise of the movie is that there's these aliens that have taken a bunch of humans to this planet, and they're studying humans to figure out what makes them human, I guess, because their species is dying. And so every night at midnight, they do this thing called tuning, and they change the entire city around. They switch everybody's memories. They add memories, remove memories, and that without giving up too much, that's kind of the premise of it. And obviously, the one guy didn't lose his memories, and he woke up, and he's got this little note for a place called Shell Beach. And he's always asking people, he's like, "How do you get to Shell Beach? Do you remember Shell Beach?" And everyone goes, "Yeah. You take like 6th Avenue to, wait, where is it?" And then, or do you take like 7th Avenue? And nobody can remember it. And he's like, "Do you not see what's going on?" And anyways, really good film. I'm not doing any justice by rambling away here. So I'll just sign this thing here. And then we can have a little gander at my book. But yeah, Dark City. You can probably watch it on streaming services or whatever, or I suggest just buying a physical copy, because physical copies are the best. I love my analog stuff. Filthy.com. Oh yeah, Grand Theft Auto Vice City. I remember that game. I plugged a lot of hours into that one. I did like the Flock of Seagulls music in it. Hello, Donald Taylor, who I forgot to say hi to. Hi, Donald Taylor. Dark City. Sometimes I just ramble too much and my words just kind of flop out of my mouth. I think it had Kiefer Sutherland as the detective guy, or not the detective. He was the scientist that was in that film. Oh boy, it's the fourth today. Yeah, Kiefer Sutherland was in there, and bloody hell, the detective. I can't remember his name, but he played the sniper. I believe he played the sniper in Enemy at the Gates. Hello, mister. What are you doing? Hello. Come here, my boy. I got a gargoyle here with me. Look at this handsome fella. Look at him. Hello, mister. Look at how handsome that guy is. he'll steal your wife and your girlfriend. But yeah, I'd give that a watch. Also, like I said earlier, 311 is from Lincoln, Nebraska. Yeah, well, my best buddy in the world is from Omaha, Nebraska. Also, Omaha, Nebraska is where the wrestler Sting is from. Ooh, spicy guacamole and pico de gallo. Yeah, but what are you eating it with, Andrew? Are you just dipping vegetables in there? Or do you have pita bread or crisps or chips if you're English, North American English? Yeah, Mary Kay, I have a ton of books and CDs. Lever, we probably got like 1,000 books, right? He's probably not there anymore. Well, between the missus and I, we probably got 1,000 books. Let's see here. This is a first Halloween drawing for 2025. But yeah, between the missus and I, we probably got over 1,000 books. Just a pain in the ass to move them when we do move. Mr. Gargoyle, Jennifer says hi. Sorry, Jennifer, he also doesn't care. Oh, hello, lovely Julie. You can't see it, but I bowed for you, Jules. I love you, pal. Halloween number 1, 2025. Yes, watch the Halloween 3 film, because that's really good. Here we have Carl the alien running away from a ghosty. He doesn't have a shadow because he's a ghost, which is... You have to use your brain a little bit. Just like in the movie The Thing, with at the very end, when Childs meets up with McGrady, and Childs doesn't have any breath coming out, so you know that he's the Thing. But anyways, Lost Boys is good too. I mean, let's we have a... This is Dave and Merle here. Let's lift that up a little bit. Let me turn this. Let me turn the brightness down on the sun here. Still not helping very much. But here's Dave and Merle adventures at the Rune. And Merle says, "Beyond this door is where the ghosts lurk. Turn on that ghost box, Dave." And Dave says, "Merle, I feel like we're being watched. I need my teddy bear." And there's 3 ghosts behind him. Autocorrect. You have to. You gotta. The Jaquita, you gotta live your life dangerously and have autocorrect correct remove. And here's Merle in the woods with the Bigfoot. Let's see here. Oh, look it. There's a cow being abducted. And then here's a cow in space. And then we have the lovely Grump Ape. Why is he so grumpy? Well, he's sweaty, he lives in a swamp, he smells bad, he doesn't even lift, bro, and he skips leg day. Unbelievable. This is all of a... And then here's Bigfoot. Why are you so grumpy? I need a bath and I stink. That's somewhere in Florida. He went and visited his cousin. And then there's Dave sharing some moose juice with Sasquatch. Let's see here. And then Sasquatch telling the Grump Ape, maybe you should just try some moose juice. And he agrees to. And then he presents Le Sasquatch, and he's all refined. Hey, lover.
I didn't do it. You can't prove otherwise. It was the gremlin.
Yeah, that sounds boring. We got like over 1,000 books probably, right?
1,200 and something or other.
1,200 and something or another, she says. So I didn't go over on the Showcase Showdown, so that's good. But here, I have to show out some accolades here. This is from Spookles the Cat. You're my favorite artist and the bestest in the whole world. And then from Brandon Fugel, he says, "Thank you for bringing the ranch to life with your art. Warmest regards." And then some guy on YouTube says the drawings are distracting. That was one of the first shows that I did. Someone wrote that in there. They said that the drawings were distracting. And then I have a quote from Grant Cameron. "It's all connected." And yes, this is available on Amazon. You just plug in Cryptid Cartoons Volume 2. And Ted DiBiase. Oh yeah. I always wish I'd get paid off by Ted DiBiase. I like wrestling. My current favorite wrestler, Andrew, is Asuka right now. I'm an Asuka enjoyer. She's awesome. So wait a minute. Did I miss the Grantavius Flavius Maximus in here? Scrolling. No, apparently I didn't. Well, either way, I'll just phone Grant after this and just tell him how handsome he is because he's probably the most handsome guy I know. Anyways, I hope you guys have a wonderful Saturday. I'm going to pack up my drawing and I have to scan it and I got to bring some over and I got to bring a book over to my pal Too Loud Don and take his money for my book because that's my favorite part about the book is taking people's money. And
Swap meet for people October 25th, Aviation Museum. I'll be hot. I'll have your swag there as well as plushies.
If you live in the Edmonton area, October 25th at the old Aviation Museum, didn't that burn down?
No.
It must have been in a different timeline. Anyways, if you're in Edmonton, October 25th, there's a swap meet at the Aviation Museum. Fox Vegas will be there. I don't think I'll be there. I'll probably be sleeping of some sort or working.
I'll probably be the only one with plushies, so easy.
Just look for the goth girl with plushies and my art and everything, and maybe I'll send some books with her. So you guys have a wonderful weekend, and don't forget, make sure you watch some Dirty Fylth Paternity Court for cat support. I'll add that to my resume. You guys have a wonderful day. Make sure you watch Halloween 3 and Dark City. Okay, remain dauntless. Tschüss.